Hey guys, how are you? This is my Pilates greatest hits workout. So today we're going through my favorite Pilates exercises. So not all of the Pilates exercises ever, but several that I really enjoy doing. And then also my favorite way to use the Flobody gym and all its accessories to do those exercises. So you'll need quite a few little accessories today, basically all of them, which is going to be really fun to kind of run through all the creative ways we can use them in our workout. Let's go over what I have here. So I have 2 resistance bands. I have my S band, and I also have the one that says 5, so the number 5 on this one. I have my foot or hand loops because we're going to use them as hand loops today. I have my hand weights, and I also have my little extender piece that's going to turn those 2 weights into 1. Last but not least, the mini ball, small but mighty. And this is the piece of equipment that we're starting out with. So I'm going to have you come down onto your mat, scooch, scooch, scooch down, and you'll be on your back. So I'm going to roll it all the way down. Make sure that I'm nice and comfy here. And then my ball is going to go between my inner thighs, slightly above my knees. I'm going to bring my legs up to tabletop. Couple different things here. We're going into exercise number 1, my favorite on my greatest hits, the 100, or what I like to call the 10. So something to keep in mind as we do our 100. What is 100 about this exercise is that you're going to pump your arms 100 times as you're doing it. But there's a modification if you prefer to have a little bit more support for your head. Maybe you have a sensitive neck. You can lace your fingers and place your hands behind your head and do the same 10 breaths that we'll be doing as we pump our arms 100 times. Say that 5 times really fast. So we're starting out with our 100, ball to the thighs. As you exhale, I want you to squeeze the ball with your inner thighs. And as you inhale, you're going to release it. So I'm going to curl up, make sure my upper back is rounded. I'm extending my arms. My fingertips are reaching long. And I'm going to start to pump, and we'll go through our 10 breaths. I'm going to exhale, squeeze, and inhale, release. This is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. So you can roll it down. I'm sure you already feel your tummy working, feeling your upper body, your back muscles working. Let's keep the ball between the thighs, slightly above the knee, but I'm going to bring my feet down to my mat, and I want my ankles lined up right under my knees. I'm going to scooch my feet together so there's a slight squeeze happening on the ball. And then exercise number 2 in my greatest hits is just a floor bridge. But not just any floor bridge. We're going to add in rolling of the spine or articulating. So I want you to warm up a little bit. You already have a light squeeze on that ball, so we know it's there. And we'll go into some pelvic rocks. So I'm going to pretend that I have a tail, and I'm going to reach my tail up to the ceiling, or like I'm rounding my lower back and reaching the tops of my hip bones down into the mat. We're tucking, rounding the low back, or tucking your tail between your legs like it's going to reach through and up, and then releasing and allowing that natural arch to come back into your lower back. Rock and release. Get those juices flowing with a little bit of movement. Let's get you warmed up before we go into our full floor bridge. So still with that light squeeze, 3 more. Tilt the tops of your hips back, round that lower back like you're trying to press your low back down into the mat. Release. Here's 2. Tip it back and release. Last one, tip it back and release. So what if we kept this going and just made it a lot bigger, and that's our floor bridge? So I'm going to start here with an inhale. As I exhale, I'm going to tuck. And then I'm just going to keep it going. So I'm tucking and I'm rolling, peeling myself away from the mat, sending my kneecaps forward over my toes. And I'm going to stop right at my shoulders. Then I'm going to pause here, take a breath. And then I'll use my exhale to roll back down. But now from the top of my back, right underneath my shoulders, into the mat, little piece by little piece of my back. Then finally, I'll allow my tailbone to touch down, recreating that slight arch in my low back, enough space to just kind of slide my fingers underneath. Let's do it again. Tuck your tailbone under. On this part, I like to exhale, but you can do what you're comfortable with. Then I'm going to pull my belly into the floor like somebody punched me in the gut. I'm going to start to lift from the bottom of my spine all the way up until I reach right about my shoulder blades. Then I pause. Take another breath, and then I'm going to start to roll myself down, touching down little bit by little bit until my tailbone reaches the mat, and then I release. So let's go a little bit faster. Tuck and roll, pull that belly in, take it up to the top, light squeeze on the ball as you're taking it up, then you're going to roll it down. Tuck and roll and pause. And roll right back down. Tuck and roll again, all the way up to the top, all the way down to the bottom. Tuck and roll, squeeze your cheeks underneath you as you're rolling up and down. Can you give me 4 more after this one? So we start our countdown here. This is 4. Tuck, roll, take it up to the top, pause. Roll down top to bottom. Here's 3. This feels really good on my stiff lower back. Here's 2. Up to the top, use that ball for support, still keeping that light squeeze. For 1, take it all the way up to the top and stay there. So 2 things are going to happen here. First one, I'm going to take it down halfway and then right back up. Down halfway, then right back up. So rolling from the top of my back to take a little dip without touching the mat. So you might start to feel those muscles through the back of your body as well as your core muscles starting to work really hard here. Let's do 6, 5, 4, you feeling some cheek, 3, 2, for 1, take it up to the top. Keep staying there. Now let's utilize the ball. We're going to squeeze and release 8 times. Exhale, squeeze like you're trying to pop the ball. Inhale, release. 7, 6. Here's 5. Feel your core working. 2, 4, 3, 2. Squeeze and release. Last one, I want you to squeeze and hold on little tiny pulses into the ball. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on tight and roll all the way down. Let your tailbone touch down. And relax. You can take your ball. We're going to set this off to the side and then we'll do a little switch up. So we used our ball. Now we'll go into using one of our resistance bands, which it looks like my ball's trying to roll away. I might let it roll away because we don't really need it again. I'm going to grab my band that says S. So I've got this guy. And first thing I'm going to do is unzip my body bar. And then I'm going to stand it up. This is the easiest way I found to get this guy through, because if you try and toss it through or you do it sideways, it takes a really long time and it's kind of awkward. So I'm standing this up and I'm just going to kind of dangle it through. And then I can start to lift this up and thread it all the way through until I see it come out of the bottom. There it is. So now that it's come out of the bottom, I'm going to zip this up. So let's put the body bar back in. I'll hold on to it while I zip it back up. And then I'm going to grab my loops Today, they're not foot loops, they are hand loops. We'll attach one on one side and then secure it. And then we'll attach one on the other side. And then I'm going to secure it. So now that I've got those two loops there, I'm going to just make sure that they're even. And then when I can see that they're even, now I can turn around and I don't have to worry about it feeling awkward. And I'm going to set my feet up against my body bar here. Then I'm going to kind of sit back on my heels, and that's going to secure my bar so it doesn't move on me while I'm doing my arm work. So I'm going to stick my hands in. I have 4 fingers in, thumb on the outside. I'm going to make sure that my arms are nice and even. It doesn't feel like I have one longer on the other side, one longer than the other side. That would make more sense. Elbows are tucked in. I've got my shoulders back and down, my chest up and open. And then I'm going to extend my arms forward in front of me and then bend to bring them back. And you might find that this is a lot heavier than you were expecting. We think like, oh, this is probably going to be really light. But then once you stretch that band a little bit, it gets heavier. So you're extending your arms out in front of you like you're serving a tray. So you have a tray in your hands are even, they're moving together. And you can picture something on the tray that you don't want to tip over. So nice and steady as you extend your arms out, fingertips long with that imaginary tray in your hands. All the way out and bring it back. Arms as long as they can go. Let's go for a few more, and then we'll add a little spice to this one. Not that it's not already spicy. Here's 4, 3, 2. For 1, let's extend it out and hold it here. Let's add on a movement to this. We're going to open, close, bend and tuck in. Send those arms forward, open the arms, close the arms, tuck them back in. Let's do 6 more. This is 6, open, close, and tuck them back in. Here's 5, open, close, tuck them in. 4, open, close, tuck them in. 3, and bring them in. 2, tuck them in. Last one, take it out, hold it here, open and close only for 8, 7, 6, is it burning a little bit? 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Feel those arms wanting to drop, tuck them in, and then we're going to switch it up. So I am going to switch these around a little bit so my palms face down now, and I'm going to bring my hands up behind my head. So I'm kind of like stacking my hands together, and we'll go into shave or shave the back of your head. You can tuck your chin in, eyes look down a little bit, and we're going to move right from the elbow to extend up overhead and then bend. Extend up overhead and bend. If it feels better to hinge forward a little bit, feel free to do that. I prefer to be a little bit more upright. All the way up, all the way down, focusing on working the upper back part of your arm or your triceps. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, out and over, bend, and then bring those hands down. So it's time to make another little adjustment to our Flobody. So we've been just tooting along. We have right now our foot loops or our hand loops attached, but let's remove those. And then we'll go into using our hand weights, and I'll show you how to turn your Flobody gym into a rower. So we still want to keep this threaded through our S-band. I'm going to take my loops and set them off to the side. And now I'm picking up my hand weights and my extender piece. So I'm going to unscrew one weight. I'll keep it upright because I don't want the weight on the inside to fall out. And then I have this extender piece, and I'll go ahead and attach it. And now the other one. So I'll take this off the top, and I'll set these two off to the side. And then we'll put these together. There we go. And then I'll check that out, nice and tight. So now I'm going to carefully attach my loops to either side. I'm going to do this one and secure it. And then I'll do the other one and secure it. Attached and tightened. So now this bad boy is a rower. Then I'm going to turn around and set my heels up against the body bar again. And I'm going to scoop myself back. It's up to you whether you prefer your knees to be slightly bent or you want to sit all the way down and extend your legs. I've got long legs and I want to extend them out a little bit. And then I'm going to hold with an overhand grip this time. And I might scoot down. Let's scoot down a little bit. That way I can lean back a little bit more. So I have an overhand grip where my palms are facing down. I'm going to tuck my tailbone under, kind of like that pelvic rock or that floor bridge earlier. And I'm going to lean back a little bit. So I feel my tummy kicking in a tiny bit, but it's nothing too strenuous because I want to be able to hold this position for a while. Then we go into our rowing. I'm going to bend my elbows, take them out wide, bring this up to my chest, and then extend out in front of me. Bend and pull, and then extend. So you're using your arms, you're using your back, you're using your core, you're also pressing your legs down into the mat. So it's not just upper body / back. Really, your whole body is involved in this exercise. And that's something that's kind of unique about the way we set up our rowing with the Flobody gym. I think that makes it a little bit more effective. Let's go for 8 more. Row it back. 8 and extend. 7, you could take it down a little bit lower if you want to make it more challenging. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take those elbows out wide, bring it in, and you can take a little break. So I like to just set this down for a moment and just fold forward, give myself a tiny break. Then I'll bring it back up, and now I'm going to row with my palms up. So I'm going to pick this guy back up, scratch an itch on my eyebrow, and continue. So I've got my palms up. I like to wrap my thumbs kind of around the outside of my hand weights. Make sure it's nice and straight. Same setup. I'm going to lean back a little bit, press my heels into the body bar, press my feet down into the mat at the same time, tuck my tailbone under, slight pelvic tilt back. And now I'm going to drive my elbows back and down into the floor. Pull it back, then take it out in front of you. Back and down, and then out in front of you. Let's go for 8, 7, 6. Here's 5, 4. You feeling that tummy working? 3, 2. Last one. Now let's bring it up. So now that we have our palms up, we're going to go into another move. So classic Pilates move here, half roll down. So I'm going to scoop myself up just a tiny bit, little bit closer to the body bar. I've got a bend happening in my knees, and I'm going to bring my arms up a little bit. So kind of like I'm stuck in a bicep curl. And this is going to help to support me as I roll down, but only a little bit. So we're going to roll down part of the way and come back up for some belly and spine work. So I'm inhaling first, As I exhale, I'm going to lean back just a tiny bit, and I'm going to start to tuck my tailbone under, pull my belly in. We're revisiting that articulation through the lumbar spine or the lower back. I'm going to take it down as far as it feels comfortable for me, and I'm resting my elbows on my body. If you prefer to keep your arms up, go for it. Here, I'm going to pause and take a breath. And then I'm going to bring it all the way back up. Not too bad, right? Tuck your tailbone under, roll down from the bottom. You can feel yourself sinking down into the mat. And then you're going to stack yourself all the way back up. Down and down and down and down and lean back. You see how this kind of supports you? It makes it a lot easier. And you can experiment with taking it down a little deeper, a little lower if you want to. Let's try it. So I'm going to take it down. I'm going to keep pulling on the bar, but my feet are pressing down into the mat. So the mat's not going anywhere. The body bar is not going anywhere. And I have the resistance helping to pull me back up. Let's go for 5 more. Tuck and roll, lean it back, but use your belly. Stack yourself back up. Here's 4. And bring it back up. 3. 2. For 1, let's take it down and stay there. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly in, roll back and stay there. Can we do little pulses like we're going to reach back a little bit more? So I'm going to take it back a little bit more and come up. A little bit more and come up. I'm going to go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take it down, and then I'm going to roll it all the way up. So now we'll go from using this as a rower or as a support system for our half roll down. And we're actually going to remove the weight here. So let's take off our loops one at a time. Make sure to keep your resistance band looped through, so don't tug too much, or you'll have to unzip and start all the way over. This guy goes off to the side. And now we're going into using our other loops. So we're going to use 2 loops joined together. So it's the S loop and the loop that says 5. And I'm going to just join these guys together, being careful not to pull that through. Let's secure it. And then I'm going to grab onto this guy, and I'm actually going to feed this through until these are even. So once they're even, I can set them down. Then I'm going to grab these loops, and we're using the loops again. So let's go ahead and attach these, one on one side and secure it. One on the other side, and then we'll secure it. And then I'm going to put these in one hand and flip over, being careful to put my feet kind of like in between the resistance bands, and we'll go one band on one side, one on the other side. And I'm going to set my feet up against my body bar, kind of like pressing my toes in and pushing it away from me. Then I'm going to grab with just my thumb one loop, and I'm going to press my hand down into the mat, come down onto my belly. I'll grab the other loop, and now I have them in both of my hands, and I'm just holding with my thumb. Now from here, I'll take my feet out a little bit wider, and I'm going to relax my hip bones down into the mat, but I'm going to try pulling my belly away from the mat. I'll keep my chin tucked in, and I'm just going to look down to the mat while lifting my face away from the mat because I don't want to lay on my face, and I'm sure you don't either. Now, keeping that chin tucked in, let's try extending the arms out. So I'm going to create a goalpost shape. This is where I start, and from here, I'm going to push all the way out against the resistance, and then I'm going to bend to come back in. My arms are hovering just over the mat. So I'm going from a goalpost into an extension here. My arms are working, but most importantly, my upper back muscles are working, my posture making muscles. So if you've ever wanted to stand up a little bit straighter, feel a little bit taller, this is the exercise for you. This is the exercise if you sit down at a desk all day, if you do a lot of driving and maybe your shoulders tend to round forward or you feel a little tight. This helps you to strengthen those muscles through the back of your body so you can sit up a little bit straighter, stand up a little bit taller. Let's go for 5 more. Here's 4. Hopefully you feel those back muscles heating up. Here's 3, 2. For 1, we're just going to take it out and hold it for 10 seconds. Are you ready to take it out? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Hands down to the mat. Push up into a little stretch. So I'm going to push up here. You can also bring your hands forward a little bit if that's too deep of a stretch. Make it a little bit smaller. Do what feels good to your body. And then we'll come down into exercise number 2 using the loops and the resistance bands this way. So exercise number 2, I was thinking we could go for a little swim since it's kind of hot in here from all this working out. Let's try extending both arms out, keeping them even. And I'm going to start with one hand on the floor, one up, and I'm going to switch. So I've got one hand on the floor, I'm lifting one off, kind of like I'm swimming away in a really stiff and funky fashion. Kind of like swimming, right? Now what if I lifted both and I made it a little smaller, a little faster, and then let's take a break. And then we're going to come down, lift off, and swim away. And we're swimming, and we're swimming, and we're swimming. And let's pause. Take a break, lift yourself up, give yourself a little stretch. Let's do this a couple more times. Extend it out. You're swimming, you're swimming. You're pushing that body bar away from you. Pause, take a little break. You can push yourself up. Can we do this 2 more times? Extend it out. Swim, swim, swim. Last break, push it up. Last time, let's push it. Arms all the way out. Swim, 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 and bend and relax. Go ahead and push yourself up. Big, big, big stretch. Feels so, so good after all of that swimming, all of that goalpost making. And now I'm going to bring myself all the way up. Set these guys off to the side. And you can join me in taking some deep breaths. We are all done with our workout, and we used every single accessory that we had today. Thank you so much for sweating with me. Let's take it up and overhead. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. All done. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.